Before we get to the new chapter, a new interview with series creator Rikitu Nakamura was published by Young Jump, and the folks who do the scanlations were kind enough to translate the interview as well. It's a fun little read and peek into behind the scenes of the manga. Obviously I won't go over everything as it's 2 pages long, broken into 4 segments and multiple questions, but I'll put the spotlight on some of my favorite tidbits of information. Like here in part 2, where when explaining how he came up with the concept of the series, he mentions that he prefers series about existing lovey-dovey relationships over stories focused on the thrill of getting together, which I wholeheartedly agree with. Most of my favorite anime or manga has a couple being together and learning how to make it work rather than playing the will they won't they game. Don't get me wrong, I do enjoy a good series of will they won't they if it's done well and interesting, but man do I prefer the former, and anime and manga like that are far and few between. The interviewer then brings up the serious chapters that the series has had so far, as well as the episodic stuff and how Nakamura balances it. And he goes on to say that since the series is on the backs of the bonds between the characters, coming up with stories that builds or furthers those bonds is what comes first, and then he fleshes out the story from there, and sometimes they are serious, and sometimes they are comedic. And he even mentions how he generally prioritizes characters and relationships that need development, fitting how this very chapter is about giving a character who most of the community felt like needed a solo chapter of some kind. And then he tries to find a balance between the different kind of chapters that can happen, as he puts it, story between Rentarou and a girlfriend, or a story between 2 girlfriends, or a serious story, or a story where they just all joke around, and that he tries to find a balance. Though if you're asking me, I think we've been needing a serious story for a while, but that's just me. In the next section he goes over how new girlfriends are made, and he mentions that he has a stock of ideas that he goes over, and then narrows it down to an idea or two, then focuses on fleshing out the idea of the character, and how they would interact with Rentarou and other family members. And then he says he writes the introductory chapter following that. He also mentions he is a big fan of Miyazaki, I mean, who isn't? But I love he is consistent here with saying, I spend all my day working on a rom-com, not a gag manga, just further cementing the joke from a while ago that this isn't a gag manga. Then there's a whole section of Nakamura going over the creative process of a chapter, showing that it takes about 2 weeks for a chapter between initial draft, to feedback, to drawing, and everything else. He then goes over what his schedule normally looks like, showing that he works on these for roughly 12 hours from 7 to 7. Also, I love how he says he watches the 100 Girlfriends anime whenever it's on, and sometimes loses sleep because he's watching it. Near the end, he talks about his favorite and least favorite part of the whole process, saying he enjoys coming up with the dialogue, particularly the straight man bits, and that his least favorite is drawing the storyboard because he claims himself not to be a very good artist, which the whole first part of the interview was about, was him trying to become better at drawing. He then ends with some encouraging words for wannabe manga creators and how excited he is for season 2 of the anime. Anyway, the full interview is attached to the chapter, so go check it out after this video if you haven't yet. Now, onto the chapter. I'm Moonlight150, and this is my overview of the latest 100 Girlfriends chapter, Chapter 190, Momiji's Gropeless Days. As always, I won't be going over everything because I encourage you to go read the chapter for yourself, and appreciate all the hard work that both Nakamura and Nozawa put into the chapters, as well as the hard work that the scanlation team puts in, so we can all read the chapters for ourselves. Now, onto the chapter. The chapter opens with Momiji informing everyone that her apparent groping muscles are injured from excessive groping, and that she must refrain from doing more groping before any permanent damage occurs. If she were to continue as normal, she would lose the ability to grope altogether. And now I've said the word groping more times in the last 10 seconds than I ever have in my entire life. Also, we need to determine what exactly are these groping muscles, and if she were to lose the ability to grope, does she just lose all functions of her hands in general? Is this like carpal tunnel syndrome or something else entirely? Or does Momiji just have very specific muscles to only her for groping that are at risk here? Too many questions. I work in optometry, not orthopedics. Also, why do I get the feeling the only thing on Yaku's mind here is never getting another one of Momiji's massages, instead of her never groping again? Come lunchtime and Momiji is suffering from withdrawal from not groping anything the first half of the day, and everyone is on the job and trying to figure out how to make her feel better, with Nano offering advice on how to do some visual stimulation like they do on the Food Network or adult videos, or basically the entirety of the genre of vlogging on YouTube. Nano might be onto something here. Wait, hold up. Did Nano just casually soft confirm she watches adult videos? Crap, my lewd ranking tier list might need to be redone. So for some visual simulation, Nano requests someone to do some groping on one another. And of course she turns to her wife Chizuka for some assistance, who turns out to be too shy and just ends up poking Nano, reminiscing from back in chapter 4 with the whole tickling fiasco. Momoha wastes no time in getting a hold of her wife Mai and her groping of her chest. But this is all for naught, as it seems to have the reverse effect of making Momiji want to grope even more. So they go for the next tactic, and instead of observing groping, they go for groping on Momiji herself, and form the legendary Boob Muta Triangle, patent pending. Ah, the good old poof poof maneuver. Unfortunately, this still doesn't work as Momiji taps into the Speed Force and performs an instant transmission, much like Mei herself, to go in for a grope attack. Luckily, Rentarou is there just in time and catch her and stop her before she does any damage to herself. The day continues as Momiji fights her withdrawal from groping various things throughout the day, and nice callback to the old teddy bear from the solo date with Hahari. With Rentarou also becoming a speedster, catching her before she makes any mistakes, even such as trying to grope her own pill. You've got some real nerve showing your face around my videos after what you put me through in my time calculation video. And you thought you could just waltz right into this chapter without me noticing? Well, I did. Moving on. Momiji's in complete disarray as her need to grope is only getting stronger, and as Chiyo puts it, the shakes are setting in, getting into real Gollum territory in her speech as she begins to yearn for women's bodies, until she notices that she is stressing so much that her hair is beginning to fall out. At her limit, Momiji then goes for her last resort to grope herself, and Rentarou jumps in, stopping her just in time, where we get the reveal that Rentarou himself has lost all of his hair. Again. I think this is like the third time in this series this man has gone bald. Rentarou reveals that he has been stressing so much over Momiji that he lost his hair even faster than she has. Also, I love this stare Momoha is giving here. Her face says worry, but her eyes are saying, you know, I think I'm kind of into my boyfriend looking like this.
This better not awaken anything in me.
Feeling guilty that she is causing her own boyfriend so much stress, she offers to have her hands tied up, so she no longer has any temptations to grope. Which, honestly, is probably the most logical answer for this kind of situation, but because logic is so rare in this series, Rentarou instead insists on holding her hands until she feels better. Hahari offers them to stay at the Hanazono mansion, because of course we're gonna go back there. There are no other locations in this franchise out of the school and the Hanazono mansion. I mean, it could have been Rentarou's house. Oh wait, no, his girlfriend's might still be a secret. Or hell, it could even be Momiji's house, you know, where someone who is sick or injured might feel the most comfortable, their own home. But I guess if I got offered to stay in the mansion of a wealthy family and have a private chef cook meals for me as I recover, I guess I wouldn't say no either. So we have a little montage of Rentarou and Momiji tied at the hands as they go through the night with eating dinner, bathing, and going to the bathroom. Where that night Momiji has dreams of what the hell? I'm pretty sure I can't show that on YouTube. God damn, the fan service is out in full force this chapter, oddly enough. I guess it has been a while. Well, there's no better enticement to go check out the chapter for yourself, since I won't be showing any of this on the channel. Momiji then wakes up from her dream realizing she may have been groping in her sleep and possibly ruined her hands forever. I really like her face here, like the consequences of her actions actually might be coming into effect here and now she has to pay the price. But Rentarou assures her that everything is okay. Up until eventually you again! You don't show up for multiple chapters and now you show up twice in a single chapter? Honestly, I'm taking this personally. Nakamura himself watched my video and is now laughing in my face. There's no other explanation. I'm not crazy, I promise. Happy to celebrate, Rentarou says Hahari would be happy to get the first massage after her healing, but Momiji says she wants to massage him as thanks, to where we end on a lovey-dovey little spread of a kiss and love confession. Very cute, but it does leave me with a question. Or does she need to regularly take groping breaks? Because muscle injuries aren't a one-time thing. If she keeps groping, this could happen again. Oh well, I guess we are discussing imaginary groping muscles here. So maybe it is a one-time thing. Or at least until the writer needs it to pop up again. And that's it. The meme in the community has finally been fulfilled. Momiji got her long-awaited solo focus chapter. And honestly, I'm satisfied. Momiji is not that deep of a character, so taking her out of her comfort zone by taking away the one thing she's known for is a good way of giving her some time in the spotlight. Now, did this develop Momiji in any kind of way? Not really. And that's where this chapter falls a little for me, and I'm guessing some people. Yeah, it's nice to see her take center stage in a chapter, especially one on the more emotional side. I mean, just look at some of these shots. You can't help but feel bad for her. But she didn't learn anything new about herself, she didn't change at all. It's back to the same old next chapter. Which is fine. Some girlfriends are not that deep and are only tied to their quirk, and Momiji is one of these, and that's okay. This chapter sort of feels like some kind of monkey's paw kind of scenario though. Some of us wanted a Momiji chapter to dive into the character more and see if there's another side to her aside from her gimmick of groping everyone and everything. And when we finally do get that chapter, and nothing changes. She's the same as she ever was. with maybe a new level of love and respect towards Rentarou, which I don't think any of us really questioned. It's just nice to see. But we even got some of that from the flirty daily life chapters. If anyone needs a chapter dedicated to a girlfriend obtaining a new level of appreciation towards Rentarou, it's someone like Mai. Anyway, what do you all think? Was this the Momiji chapter you were all waiting for? Let me know in the comments below. And now that it's been fulfilled, who is the next girlfriend feeling in need of some time in the spotlight? My vote is for Iku. Also, the new I Can't Choose a Childhood Friend chapter is out, so expect a review of that chapter at some point. Don't know when I'll fit in the schedule, but it'll come eventually. Maybe on the next break week. For some reason, I feel like one is very soon. Oh, the preview for the next chapter. Forgot to check that out. Looks like we are getting a new color page and a date to get some noodles. Huh. Wonder if this is some kind of family affair or a small group date for a couple of girls. The color page is kind of exciting, though I'm expecting it to be like the last one with Sue and Rin. It's probably going to be Ira and Tama again, so it'll be cool to see them in the nice new color spread. Anyway, hope you all enjoyed. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe so you can all be caught up on the latest uploads as they come out. See you all on the next video. I now have to get back to my new addiction.